and a phone which goes to your device. So they need to have both in possession to compromise. But that said, if let's say you do this in a Wi-Fi or a airport, right? They capture the session tokens. I don't know, Satish must have talked to you about the cookies.
Okay.
Let's say they were able to steal your cookies when you're online at that time. They can use the same cookies as impersonate you, I think. And two-factor is not going to protect against that.
Oh, yeah.
But they cannot use the same session cookies after 2 hours, or after 3 hours, because it's going to be invalidated. You have to have, it will create another session cookie after some time. So that's why, two-factor is good, but again, you cannot use that on a compromised system. You are at risk at that time. Again, there's a lot of ifs. The attacker has to be there at the right time, things like that. But if you follow these secure principles, you should be okay. So yeah, two-factor is good for any complex banking sites, but for Facebook and stuff, it's an overkill. But yeah, again, do not use a complex password for Facebook, Twitter, and everything, because I'm sure many people use the same password for your Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn and stuff like that, right? So it's better to have a different password for different things. But have at least categories. Banking is a secure password, which is like, I would even recommend 15 to 20 for your thing. Not even 10. 10s can be easily cracked. But some banks are good because they will lock you out after like 5 bad attempts, which is good, right? That's one of the things we test for. Because like I said, a lot of these days it's a logical issue. So when I do web application pen testing, I test for this. Does the application lock you out after 5 bad attempts? If not, that's a high risk issue for the bank. Again, it depends on what kind of application. If it's a bank, it's high risk. If it's some kind of a social application, it's up to the business, because the business, Facebook doesn't care if you try to brute force. They want customers. But banks and credit card companies, you need to make sure it's secure, right? So you need to make sure when you test banking sites, test for these things, whether it is locking you after thing, and what's the password complexity. Okay. One of the other issues I see is when they set you up an initial password, they will be complex, which will limit you to like 12 or 13. But when you try to change the password, it will allow you to do like 2 digits or something. Sometimes I've seen even today many big companies. Even I was doing a testing in one of our companies. I saw that it's a product called Identity Minder. It's a CA. It's a big company. Yeah, CA, right? So they by default it was allowing a complex password, but when I tried to change the password, I was able to set it to 1. Another thing you need to check is, so you might have done this in the web application testing. From the browser, it may not let you do that, but when you use a proxy like Burp Proxy, it may not check it. So the browser will use JavaScripting to test those rules. But when you do the proxy and change it in the proxy, let's say you put like 15 digits on the browser, when you come to the proxy, you know how to pause, stop the thing, right? I'm sure you must have done it.
Right.
And when the request comes to the proxy, you can change it to 1 digit and then let it go through.
So it's not doing the server side.
Exactly.
Checking, it's doing on the client side.
Exactly. It is not doing a server side validation. So important validation should be done on the server, and the client side is just for user performance. So it doesn't have to go to a round trip. So, but you have to do on the server side. So you have to check both. So I recommend to the clients. So yeah, things like that, simple things like that you will learn. It's pretty simple, but again, a lot of people don't know to check these things. So I'm sure how many of you have breached or username is there? Did you even just the username, like different usernames you used in the past?
Yeah.
You can check username. Like I said, look here. There's 229 sites. It's lots of passwords are there out there, right?
What is paste and paste account?
There's a website you can do like people checking the code like GitHub or something like that, right? You can, they find even passwords in there. Sometimes they hardcode passwords in some of the things. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of paste websites. So it's there somewhere at some place. So this website is trying to get all those passwords and telling it.
So how is this work? Despite getting all that, website is getting all this.
There's a lot of. If you go to torrent sites and stuff, you can download like hacked databases and stuff. So you're just querying based on that. Like I said, the source for this you may not know, but it's always. The point is, your password or some company will be breached, no matter how secure they are. Some point of time they'll be breached. So just as a personal note, you have to be due diligent and then make sure you use secure passwords and everything. Change your passwords every 3 months. And yeah, use two-factor authentication on any banking sites. So those are the things for your personal thing, right? I mean, again, these are things you need to test when you're doing professionally. Like let's say you become a web app pen tester for a company. Those are things you need to test too, whether they're using strong passwords. Is it using strong password when you change it? Is it doing input validation on all the important fields, right? Things like that, I mean, simple things. Like I said, if you're using social security number or credit card number, I mean, there's no reason to have like alpha characters there. You need to have numbers, right? Test for that. If the company is not doing it, tell them, hey, you shouldn't be using a number. Why are you letting A, B, C in the social security number? Those are findings. That's a valid finding. So nothing is bad. I mean, everything because it protects you because people cannot type any like a cross-site scripting attack payload in that form, right? So you're limiting the attack vector. So if you make it more harder for the hackers, they're going to look for other sites. Okay. So look for these simple things, whether you input validation, all the fields. So input validation will protect you against XSS or SQL injection, a lot of issues. So OWASP, I'm sure you went to OWASP, right? They have like 10 different issues. 4 or 5 is always related to input validation. That's always say it's pretty simple. Do good input validations, you can get rid of all these other issues. So these days, a lot of logic-related issues are there popping up. Like you can use the business logic. For example, 2-3 years I tested a website which is based in Europe. Australian company. It's a big retail like Walmart there. They were breached and we were asked to test the site to see what are the issues we can find. So security-wise, we are good. But I found out an issue which I was able to buy any gift card for a penny. Any gift card for any amount for a penny. See, that is a security risk in the sense it's going to cost the company. And they were happy about it. So, things like that you have to look to. Not just security issues. Can you get a cross-site scripting prompt? That is not it. You should need to validate more like a testing QA, but you got to put your security hat and say, because that is a risk for the company. So you got to think in those terms. Does it make sense, or any questions?
So can you give us a practical example about brute force in real life you have seen, or you have tested for brute force attack?
Yeah, brute force is pretty simple. You know what brute force is, right? You try every possible combinations on a website, right? So there are tools out there. There is one tool called, in Kali, there's a tool called Hydra, Hydra, right? There are many tools. You can write one yourself. It's pretty simple. You can use Python or many other tools. Even VB script or CC++. All you have to do is when you in a website, you can pass all these passwords are coming from databases like this. You go to torrent. I'm sure everyone is familiar with torrent, right?
Yeah.
And if you go to torrent, you can search for passwords. You can download millions of both databases and download to your hard disk. That's why when you're doing external pen tests for web applications, the application should lock your web account after 5 bad attempts or 10 bad at the worst case, right? So if you look for that, if they lock it, there's not much you can do with brute force, right? Brute force will be dead.
A lot of websites don't lock it.
They don't. Yes, exactly. But if you're testing a website, but that website should be like sensitive website. Is it storing credit card information? Is it storing like some kind of sensitive information? If it's storing, then you can mark that as a critical or high finding, right? But if it's a simple website, you can say a low finding. So the finding becomes it's based on the context of the application, right? So when you say it's not locking, what website it is? Notice that.
It's a big commercial website.
Okay, then it's bad for the company. They need to do that, right?
So if you're a director there, so how do you convince that this is really dangerous?
We present the case. That's it. It's not up to force them, right? We present, and when we review the report with the executive management, we tell them, hey, this is the risk. But if they're willing to take it, they go for it. They don't care. So we just present it. As a pen tester, you should take at the company what they're doing and what is stored in the application, and then you got to present your thoughts to the company, and it's up to them to assume the risk. So that's it. So that's why when you rate it, it depends, because when you say low, medium, they're not going to look at it. But if you're confident, let's say it's a banking site, if they're not locking it, you should put it as a high or critical. Then someone will look at it, and then they'll make a decision. But if you put it as a low, no one is going to look at that. So you need to make the decision when you're testing it, and then make it a point to the company. And like I said, complex password should be there, because with the computing power we have these days, we have GPU cracking. We can crack a lot of simple. I've seen 12, 14 digits cracked. We have GPU cracking service for our company. We capture hashes, and I don't know if I can show.
Sorry, what is GP?
GPU cracking. It uses the video graphical card to crack. So it has like, I mean, typically a machine has only 4 cores, right? I mean, big machines. But you can use this GPU cracking. You can have, I mean, I don't know the mathematical behind that, but you can have like hundreds of cores within that GPU card. So they use that to like, it uses like a thread, different threads. Each one in the GPU is like a different thread. And Google, Amazon, they have cracking servers. So you can upload a hash and then it will crack for you. And I don't know, I mean, I cannot demo that.
Allow you directly, right? They ask you for some more additional information.
No, you can just set up a server and you can crack if you want. They don't ask anything.
On Google Cloud?
Yes. But I mean, cracking is easy. You can just Google and see how to crack a hash. But let's say you find a company hash. Like let's say you're doing a pen testing. Eventually in 1 or 2 years, let's say you become good pen testers. You want to do an actual thing. When you are trying to crack these passwords in the cloud servers, get company's permission before you do that. If it's your personal hash, that's fine, no one cares. But if let's say you're working for a company and let's say you got a list of hashes from your, everything has hash, MySQL, SQL Server, I mean Windows passwords, everything is a hash. Let's say you get a bunch of hashes, do not copy all these hashes to the cloud servers and crack it because the company will fire you for that. Get company's approval before you do that. So I mean, if they don't see it, it's fine. But again, it's a good thing. Whenever you do something like that, always get the approval before you do that. Because even now, we cannot do anything on the cloud. Because cloud is still, even if they say it's secure, it's a third-party server. Okay, we don't have control over it.
Yesterday, City of Chicago's all their email passwords which are on S3 were hacked.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. Right? What's the reason for the hacking? Let me ask you that. Well, they are secure. The servers are secure. Why do you think it's getting hacked?
Some vulnerability in their websites or something.
Yeah, but that is a thing. Can you think of another reason? It's a simple reason. But yeah, there could be vulnerabilities on the system, server, websites. But that's not the easy route. There is an easy
Phishing.
Phishing is there. The people are the weakest link.
Yeah.
Because let's say if you're using an account in Amazon or Google, what does it mean? You can log on to the systems from anywhere, right? Anywhere. Let's say your home system is weak. Let's say you're using a local admin emission. Let's say your computer was breached and there's a keylogger on your systems. Let's say you log on to Amazon Cloud. Typically they don't use two-factor authentication, just log a name and password, right? And if you have a keylogger, they can snip, and even if they capture one logon password, they get access to the environment. Once you compromise one system anywhere, they call it lateral movement. You can move from one system to another system. Because getting inside is the hard part, but once you get inside, moving laterally or horizontally is easy. They wait for, I mean, it's not happening overnight, but they will put the seed there. They'll put an executable, which they wait for someone to click on it. If I have time, I'm going to show you some demos too. You'll see how that thing happens. A simple demo, and you will learn more about it in Metasploit, how to use the leverage tools. But even today, a lot of these AVs are catching this Metasploit payloads. Metasploit is also getting a thing. The easiest way to bypass any AV is writing your own tools using Python. It's pretty simple. If you know a little bit of TCP programming, again, you don't need to know fully. You can just write Google, copy some code, just build it, and then you can write your own a malware or something. It's pretty simple.
It's not the AV going to look for the signature or something.
It will, but if it's a simple socket, if you just communicate to the outside world, it's a genuine program, right? It's not like it's not doing anything fishy. So that's why if you write your own program, how many of you have heard about VirusTotal?
What?
VirusTotal, VIRUS. Okay. So you can upload any binary to the site, and it will tell you if it's a malware or not, right? You can test that. If you write a simple Python program, a TCP program, and upload it, it's saying that nothing is found. And yeah, this is the site. I mean,
So question, I liked your point, people are the weakest link. So when you see there are a lot of people, there are VPs, there are senior management, and some people understand, you as a developer or you as a CH, these are the biggest risks. So which ones are top 10 risks for you? How do you show them these issues are critical?
yeah, that is the point of that is the challenging part, right? So you going as like a subject matter expert doing pen testing for a company, right? So those are the things you've got to look for. What is the company? What is it doing, right? If it's an airline company or a social networking site, banking site, so you test the network or web application. You as a subject matter expert, you need to put the report. Report is the important part in pen testing. So you have to convince in a way that these are the top 10 issues for the company. I mean, if you don't do this thing, your business is going to be affected and there could be X amount of dollars lost. So there may not be a real value, but if you can convince that in your report, that will get your point across. So there is no one size fits all in pen testing. It's not like a QA, right? You're not doing feature testing in security assessments. You're testing the company and network, because there's going to be a lot of security holes in any company. I mean, anyone, Russia, India, anyone, China can hack into any network they want to. It's pretty easy to do that using social engineering, or if they focus on one company, they can hack into any network these days. So it's a matter of whether you're willing to accept the risks, and I mean, what is your expertise when you're testing the website, and prove to the company, hey, this is something very important. If you do this, you may go out of business. If someone reaches this thing, if you can convince the management to that level, that is what, I mean, your job is done. I mean, right? Like, unless you're working for the company as a CISO or something, it's not your responsibility. Your job is to convince them and show the risks. Once you do that, your job is over.
So what are the top 10, like OS publishes those top 10?
That is for the web applications alone, right? Networking, again, there's a lot of, patching is number one issue we see today. Windows patching. Linux is decent, but still, there's a lot of Linux Red Hat issues. I mean, I have testing recently. Flash issues. I mean, so in general category, patching is a big risk for companies. You have to, like, anything that is a 0-day issue, you got to patch right away. Anything like a feature kind of a thing, you got to patch within a month or 60 days, right? So patching is number one risk. Password is number two. Strong password policy across the company, right?
So sorry, you said patching, right? So if I create a standard user within my Windows, and
it doesn't matter. I'll take you back. I mean, creating a standard user will protect you to a certain extent, but let's say you don't patch your system. There are exploits which will escalate your privileges from a standard user to admin user if you don't patch it. There are patches like that too.
oh, I see.
Like the different patching. That's called a 0-day patch, meaning you can.
So if every day today, I log in with
Home
standard-
users are okay because but if you don't mess anything, Windows will update the patches automatically.
even though I'm logged in as a standard user,
In the night time, it will log in.
even though I logged in as a standard user.
Exactly, because when you install the operating system, you give them permission to install automatically. So it doesn't matter on what you're logged in as.
Oh, I see.
It's
Okay.
depend on the operating system. You give the permission to the operating system, and it has a task which will upload it. But if you say no when you install the program, it's going to say, hey, there is an update you want to install. When you click yes, it's going to ask for your password, and then it'll install. But companies is a different story. They do not do automatic install. For desktop, they may do it. For servers, they have to wait because it could break something, right? So that's why you have to stay on top of patching.
So coming to that one, I have two things on this. We're all moving to containers, right?
Yeah, these days, containers are good.
Problem with,
Containers has a lot of risks too.
yeah, containers from security seem to be less secure than VMware because VMware.
Yeah, it's a lot of risk. Yeah.
Because in container, you just spin off a master container,
Uh-huh.
and if there's an open one, that is replicated across the containers.
That's right.
So if there's an open password, normally in VM you don't go to the sudo unless you're a root admin.
That's right. It's a lot of
You
risk.
get the sudo access.
It's getting better. I mean, security came to doctor only the last year or two, right? I mean, they're kind of looking at that. And a lot of the security scanners are looking for issues within the containers. But another issue with containers is you can have multiple containers within the same host.
Yeah.
It's not like a VMware, but it's lightweight.
Well,
I can even spin out like 10, 20 containers in the same machine.
Yeah.
Each will have its own IP addresses and exposing a port, typically a web application on each of the containers, right? So it is a big risk, but again, it's still catching up. A lot of these Google and Amazon, they're using containers, but still, I think 3 to 5 years, that's going to be the trend. But as of this moment, no one is calling me to test the container security at this time.
So the communication between the Docker and or the master file
Uh-huh.
and the container, it's open SSL right now.
Yes, it depends on how you architect it, right? You can even do without any openness, any encryptions. But those things
But
are
if you don't
architecture.
put encryption, the moment you get into the Docker file, then if there's a malware infested into that, it starts containing.
Exactly. It's anything is.
They are already a part of OS, right?
No, Docker container is not part of OS.
It is not, but once you are in that,
Docker, that is a virtualized machine. You know, whatever your container, that is part of a virtualized OS.
It takes an image, but it's not part of an OS. There's a lot of difference between VM and a container.
yeah, container is kind of a process, right? Loosely, I mean, it's
It
just
doesn't
another
have to
process.
be whatever is the OS, this thing you can
Can't
access.
stand it out by itself.
It needs it, but you don't need to have the same DLLs of the OS to be in that.
But without an OS, you can't.
Yeah, it's running, yeah, it is using the same kernel though, right? I mean, it's using the same kernel, I mean, it is part of the OS, but it's like loosely, I mean, it's like a process within the
Right.
OS. So it is part of the OS, it cannot be run, like you said, you cannot run that by itself. It needs some infrastructure, like an base OS, like a Linux or Mac or something. But it uses the OS architecture, it needs to use network cards. Because it's using the same networking, it's like a VM, but it's kind of lightweight. I mean, that's the way to put it. But it does use the same baseline DLLs and stuff. You cannot install it, I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll
Or continuous.
talk, I'll talk to you.
Is there a good site where I can know more about?
Yeah, Dockers. Have you used Dockers? I mean, go to YouTube and search Docker introduction. It's pretty good. I mean, it's nice. Even I'm getting into that. It's not for security stuff. It is just fun to play with it. It's and you can create a lot of these labs these days, like to play with. If it's easier to create using Dockers, because it creates like a simple Linux machine or simple Windows machine, and you can just play with it. And instead of creating like VMs, which uses a lot of RAM and stuff, these are like run within like 100 KB RAM. So you can create like even 10 machines.
You call them Dockers?
Dockers, yeah. You can create like lightweight pen testing, not like whole thing. But for example, I will show you an example. Let's show you this. Since you learned web application, if you want to learn web application, which web application did you guys use?
Is mitigated.
DAM vulnerable Linux?
Yeah.
Yeah, we use that, right? So if you go to hub.docker.com, what is it called? DAM vulnerable?
Damn vulnerable web.
DWA.
TW?
Okay.
I don't know if you.
No, DVWA. DVWA.
Damn vulnerable web applications.
So you see this one?
Right.
This will be like only like 50 MB. You can just pull this to your local machine, and you can go to your local machine and put the port number and the web application right there. So you don't even have to do a virtual machine and create this site. It's as simple as that. You can create it in like 2 minutes. And there's tons of websites like this.
Okay.
So there is like a OWASP as another one. This is OWASP, right?
That is all.
Okay, so there's tons of, actually, I mean, okay, I'll tell you this one. This is my website. I created this 3 years back, this concept. So this is my website. So I created this image. I call this distro, you know, this Kali, like Kali Linux, I created something called, it's called Web Application Exploitation Distribution. It's like an ISO. You download this ISO, and it has like 18 vulnerable applications already built into that. So you install it, and you run this thing, and you can play with 18 different apps. And it's based on Docker. This one I created like 3 years back when Docker was getting famous. So because installing each and every web application in ISO is a hard thing, right? So I put everything in one ISO using Docker technologies. And if you go to this web application, it will show you how to install this Docker. And then it will show you, I mean, how to use the commands. I'm not maintaining this, but it will still work for you guys. I mean, this is how it looks like. It's based on Debian, and you can play with it if you want.
I still didn't get what does the Docker do? I mean,
So this is a Debian Debian ISO, right? And then within Debian, I have a lot of Docker images. I put everything from like DV, WA. I put all the different web applications, and you can play with it basically. So I wish I can. Let me see. So this is how it looks like. Can you see it, or is it?
No, we can't. I think. Yeah. What?
Yeah, no.
the DVWA itself has got some 10 to 15 applications.
Yes, but the problem is, say, for example, this one, the custom Java application, right? That's something I wrote.
Okay, okay.
That is something you can, that's a simple application. If you want to play with the concepts, that's a very simple application. You can go there, click on this first link. Once you install, you will see this. When you launch a browser, it's going to show all these things. Budget is another one of the applications.
Yeah.
Okay?
So if I want to create my own set of applications, I can use Docker to.
Exactly. You can create a base Ubuntu,
Okay.
build your thing and upload it. It's a lightweight. It's 50 MB. Docker is amazing. If you do, it's not for security. But if you want to create tools, for example, if you wrote one web application yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can put it Docker and put it in Docker thing. People may download and use it, you never know. So if you get more pulls from the Docker thing, you may become famous.
Yeah.
Or at least people reach out to you. So it's something to learn.
It's open anyway, so you can do that push and pull.
Yeah, push it. So it's pretty nice. And also, just while we're in the site,
See your name actually, Satish. When you download it, the Docker image, in OS it will be, the Docker file will have your name and download system.
I also have this, if you want to,
So, but between the containers to the governor, you can put that TLS 1.2 HTTPS. Can you encrypt the TLS encryption?
TLS is already encrypted.
But by default it comes open, right? It's an open SSL. When you want the communication between the containers, can you?
Yeah, I mean that one, yeah, you can encrypt, yes. You can just cryptography layer itself, it's built into that, so you can do that. So I have this, yeah. So this one I created, I put it there for free. Initially I was planning to create a web application training, but yeah, you can just download this and learn this. I mean, this is for the first custom Java application which I told you. You can follow that with the slides. So you can, there's like 100 pages. It will walk you step by step. If you want to follow up with a custom web application to just to learn more, you can follow the slides. It's pretty self-explanatory. So you have to install the distro first, and then you can follow this along.
Okay.
And this is on your
Site, the cyberthreat.com, yes. And another thing is, for practicing hacking, right? I mean, you need a lab. Someone asked how to create a lab, right? So I also created this one. It's called. So it'll take like 1 day for you to create this, but it's a good learning practice if you want to do that.
For OSCP.
No, not for even just for learning and any hacking. So if you go to Pentest Lab right here, there is like 18 different links there, right? You see that? So let's go to the first one. And there's an arrow mark left and right. So you can go to the right here or left. So you'll go to the next in sequence, right? So let me zoom this in. So if you follow this, the whole thing, I walk everything step by step, but I'm using Hyper-V. It's like VirtualBox. It's Hyper-V is Microsoft's built-in virtualization. So if you follow this along, you will create a lab like this. So basically in one laptop, if you have like 16 gig is what I recommend for creating this, or any server you can buy. So you will have a bunch of this, one Active Directory machine, which is a requirement for any Pentest lab. You'll have a server, which is this is like a typical any company. You'll have a bunch of Windows servers, you'll have an Active Directory, you have client workstations, and this is my thing, I told you that my web application distro, if you want to install that, Kali WebBugs. Once you create this, all these machines will have internet connections, and you can play hacking, and these all are secure missions.
And what is
This
PS?
cannot talk to the main thing is this is your host mission, right? This is a host mission. Okay, everything is installed within your Hyper-V. The cool thing, if you follow my steps along, none of these missions will be able to talk to this mission. So whatever you do this is secure. So that's how so this is, I walk everything step by step, how to create the virtual machines. The only thing you really need is a Windows 10 machine to be better, and you need to have like the images for the Windows 2012.
You have your images only in Hyper-V or in VM or OVA?
This is all Hyper-V. So this is we don't have the images, because the problem with Windows is you cannot distribute those images. You need to have the ISO file from Microsoft. Your company might have it, so just ask them if they can give it to you. Microsoft gives you Windows 10 for free for 90 days. They can give you Windows 2016 you can also do this with Windows 2016. It's free for like 180 days. You can just download from the Microsoft website.
And what is pfSense?
pfSense is a firewall. It's a software-based firewall. And you'll also learn a lot. Like I said, if you follow this step by step, you will know how to set up a lab. and you'll learn a lot about firewall, how to set up secure connections and things like that. So it's just so it's a very detailed. I created this last year, but just I mean,
What's the website link? Cyber
threathunt.com.
Threat Hunt.
Yes,
Hyper-V is free in Windows 10?
yes, it's free. You can install Windows 10 or any server 2012. So if you go, it'll show you how to set up Windows 10, Windows 7, how to set up Active Directory. I mean everything step by step. So if you see, look at this. I mean it shows each of the screenshots too. So the important thing is setting up the Active Directory. If you have never done it, it's not hard. Just follow through. Once you set it up, that's when you can hack into real scenarios. How to hack a user password, get into Active Directory, things like that. It will be fun.
Oh,
So do you have to have data as well, right?
Data in the sense?
Oh, in the Active Directory. So like.
Yes, I also show you how to create a few users.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, once you know how to create few, you can automate that. There is a lot of scripts online. You can create it. But the thing is, many people won't know how to create an Active Directory, right?